Hey everyone, Mr. Rose. Recording some lessons today. The first one that we're going to do is multiplying integers. Alright, let's see if I can get this to focus a little better. There we go. Alright, multiplying integers. Okay, so when I hear the word integer, I want a quick reminder of what an integer is. Bring it over here. That's my whole numbers, positive and negative. So we're starting from wherever to -3, -2, 1, 0, 1, 2, and so on. Those are our integers. All of those numbers, your numbers that you probably think of when you hear the word number. So when we're talking about multiplication, we know a few things. We know that that's a repeated addition is sometimes how we like to hear it. So I put an example up here of 3 times -5. I rewrote that as -5 plus -5 plus -5. I wrote it 3 times because we're doing 3 times -5. So 3 -5s. We put those all together, just like we know when we're adding negatives. We just add them right to each other. So we have -5 plus another -5 would be -10 plus another -5 would be -15. So our answer for 3 times -5 is -15. So we're going to do the same kind of pattern for the next few here. I'm just going to slowly fill it in. You're welcome to do the same in your notes as I do. So we have 5 times -4. So I'm going to do -4 plus -4, -4, -4, and 5 times, because we have times 5. So I'm thinking -4 plus -4, we got -8, -12, -16, and -20 would be our sum there. The next one, we got 2 times -8, so that's just going to be -8 plus -8, just 2 times, and that would be -16. Finally, 4 times -10 leaves -10. 4 times. And as we know, when we're adding those up, we add them up just how we would. -10, -20, -30, -40. All right, now I want you to notice something. In our multiplication, we have one positive. That's what I started it all with, and one negative right here. And notice that all of our sums turned out negative. We have -15, -20, -16, -40. So notice something here. What can we assume about multiplying a positive and a negative? Looking at our answers, we can assume it will always be negative. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second here, but I just kind of wanted you to be able to see that for yourself. Positive times a negative is always going to be a negative. So we're looking at our couple of warm-ups here, little examples. We got 2 times -6. Remember, when these are touching, that means multiply. So we're going to multiply all these. 2 times -6. I'm not going to rewrite my repeat addition because I know I can do my multiplication. I know 2 times 6 is 12. So 2 times -6, if we have one positive, one negative, it's always a negative, would be -12. 4 times 3, I know 4 times positive 3 is also 12. So that means we have one positive, one negative. We know it will always be negative. So we have another -12. 2 times 7 is 14. So 2 times -7, we have one positive, one negative, -14. Here are your rules. This is stuff that I need you to put in your notebooks right here. Right here, right here. These right here. Pause it if you need to right now. Jot these down. These rules are going to be important. They're going to come in handy on your tests and quizzes. Remember, you're allowed to use those notes, so this will be huge for that. So our rule is 2 numbers with the same sign multiplied. I forgot that in there the first time I wrote it. Multiplied is, I'll even add an always positive. What that means is we have a negative times a negative will always be positive. They're the same sign. Negative and negative will always be positive, and positive will always be positive when we are multiplying. So looking at our first example, we have -2 times -2. They're both negative. The answer is always positive. +4. 2 times 2. They have the same sign. They're both positive. Always positive. Our second rule, two numbers with different signs multiplied is always negative. This is what we were talking about at the very beginning of the lesson. So if we have negative 2 times positive 2, we have different signs. Different signs is going to be negative 4. Positive 2 times negative 2. Different signs. Negative. Negative 4. So you got to remember the same sign is always positive. If we have a negative and a negative, it's always going to be positive. Positive and a positive is always going to be positive. Different signs, always negative. Let's get some practice with that. One last little rule here for you to put in your notebooks. I know a lot of you know this, but anything multiplied by 0 is always 0. So 4 times 0 is going to be 0. 67 times 0 is 0. 108 times 0 equals 0. It's always going to be 0. Right up here, I put a couple little different symbols that we can use for multiplication. I know sometimes those can get confusing. We have the typical multiplication X, then we have the dot. We've been seeing that a lot more. Parentheses, we've been seeing a lot more. And the star right here, you'll see that a lot of times online. That's how they'll multiply. All right, so we're looking at our practice here. I'm thinking about my PEMDAS still. These are all multiplication problems. But I know when we're doing our PEMDAS, once we get to multiplication, we move from left to right. If you did not know that, you should write that down right now. When we get to our multiplication division, we always move from left to right. We have all multiplication here, so we're going to move from left to right solving these. So I start with negative 3 times 5. I see that these signs are different. A negative 5, positive 15. If I look back at my rules, different signs is always negative. So I know this is going to be a negative 15. I went from left to right, started with my left problem. Now I can rewrite this as negative 15 times 4. I see negative, negative, same sign. We remember our same sign is always positive. So I know this is going to become a positive. And if I think about that quick, I know 15 times 2 is 30, times 3 is 45, times 4 is 60. So same signs becomes positive 60. Next one, negative 5 times negative 5. Well, I see that they are same sign. They're both negative. I know my same sign will always be positive. So I know 5 times 5 is 25. Negative 5 times negative 5, they're the same sign. It's going to be 25. Next one, we got 2 times negative 8. Signs the same or different? They are different. We have a positive 2 and negative 8. Multiply those together. We know it has to be a negative because they have different signs. Negative 16. Next one, you know this one right off the top of your head. 4 times 4, you see that they're both positive. Another example, 16, positive 16. All right, now we're getting back into those 3 steps. So we're starting from left to right, just like I talked about before, from left to right. We got negative 4 times 8. Take a second to try to solve this one on your own. Negative 4 times 8. Let's star that one. Just remember to put an Edpuzzle question on it. Negative 4 times 8 is going to be a negative and a positive. We know that that is always negative. Negative 32 times negative 2, we can rewrite that as. Now we have a negative and a negative. Same sign. This is going to be positive. Positive 64. We have 2 negatives. Makes a positive. Next one, I see we have 6 times negative 3. Different signs. That means it's going to be negative. Negative 18 times 5. Again, we have different signs. I'm going to have to jot this one down quick. I don't know it off the top of my head. It's 45, 90. And I know this is a negative, so it has to be negative 90 because we have different signs. Negative 90. Our last one, negative 7 times negative 14. We know we have the same signs there, so this has to be a positive. Jot that one down. If you're looking a step ahead, you might notice something. I got 98 times 0, and we remember that anything multiplied by 0 is 0. All right, that's what I got for you for multiplying integers. Our next lesson will be dividing integers. A lot of the same ideas, but a little bit different. I'm excited to work through that with you. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. Yeah, let's multiply some integers.